Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here. I want to thank the folks over at Sweet Bay for underwriting Coach's Corner. Coach Petree and I will talk about the Lady Commodores and how they did last week and what they're going to do this week and where we stand and everything. So, Lady Commodores right now 7-5 overall, 5-5 in the panel conference, ranked 5th in the state coaches poll, and the last poll from that we have right now, 12th in the NJCA national poll. So we're starting to work our way back around through this final round, almost final round, playing through this. We got 6 games left, and they're all battles. And so, but we'll back up and talk about what Lady Doors did last week. We played Chipola, a very, very, very good Chipola team in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse. Came up short 77-66. If we look at the game by the quarters, 17-11 Chipola, 19-13 Chipola, 23-20 Chipola, and 22-18 Gulf Coast for a 77-66 loss to Chipola in this panel conference race.
Yes, sir. You know, the story of that game came at the free throw line. You know, we had 30 opportunities. We had multiple technical foul shots where we could have capitalized, and we didn't get anything out of those. I believe that we were 18 of 30 from the free throw line, and that's, you know, like I said at the game, that's just unacceptable. It'll be hard to win any game like that. We didn't shoot it very well from the three-point line. I believe we were like 8 of 30, which is too many to be taken in the first place. But things we did well. We rebounded the ball well. I thought we defended their actions very well. They're just such a good team with so many weapons that they were able to get the extra pass and knock down shots. But I think it was a little bit better game than the score indicated. You know, about 2.5 minutes left, maybe 3 minutes left. It was about a 4 or 5 point game.
Okay. So it's back and forth. We'll talk about free throw shooting for a little bit. It was 20 of 33 from the line for 60.6%, which is enough to win the game if you shoot extremely well in there. Now, you have to give credit to Chipola on shooting from the floor. They can play defense. They're going to get in your grill. They're going to make you move. They're not going to let you get comfortable. And we were 8 of 35 from behind the arc, and then 19 of 67 from the floor for 28.4%.
Yeah.
So how much of that's defense and how much is not, Coach?
Chipola definitely guards. They're one of the best defensive teams there is, but we've got to make shots. You know, when I looked at the film, there were a couple what we call gimmies, which are points in the paint, just post touches, layups, things like that, or knockdowns, just those wide open jumpers that we have to make that we unfortunately didn't.
And like you said, there was some of them, there was a lot of technical fouls called, so there was a lot of clock not running opportunities that we didn't capitalize on. If we look at the game by the scoring, Matthews with a double-double, 21 points, 10 rebounds.
She's really coming along. You know, her scoring is quiet. You know, you don't realize that she's putting up as big a numbers as she does, but she does a great job. Happy she's doing well. And
so if you look at that, now she was perfect behind the arc, 1 for 1. So, but
one
normally,
for 1 on the year, I believe.
Well, normally she doesn't shoot a lot out there. So in that case, she knocked one down. It could have been a bank shot or something on top of that, but
No, I don't think it was.
So, but she had a good night for the Lady Commodores. Daniel with 14 points. Everybody else single-digit scoring for the game.
We would like to get 4 or 5 people in double figures. I think that makes this more difficult to guard, but we're working.
So we look at down the Chipola side. Brown scored 23 of them. Perfect from the free throw line, 4 of 4, 3 of 13 from behind the arc, 8 of 20 from the floor. Played 36 minutes.
Great player, one of the best in the country.
So she played well. Behind her would have been Sosa with 19 points. Perfect from the free throw line, 5 of 5, 2 of 5 from behind the three-point line, 6 of 11 from the floor. Played 38 minutes of the game. And then McLaughlin, 18 points. Not quite perfect from the free throw line, 4 of 5. So, and 6 of 8 from the floor, played 34 minutes and if they shot 75% from the free throw line, 15 of 20, 8 of 23 from behind the arc for 34.8, and 27 of 59, 45.8% from the floor.
All 3 very good players.
So they do a nice job for Coach Franklin. And then we got the opportunity to play Tallahassee at home again. Unfortunately, this is the last home game for a little while, but Lady Commodores scoring by the quarters, 21-7 Gulf Coast, 20-13 Gulf Coast, 27-21 Gulf Coast, and we tied in the fourth quarter, 22-22, and that's just because you took your foot off the accelerator, not to keep it expanding that score. So a good night for the Lady Commodores that night.
Yes, sir. I think we shot the 3 a little bit better that night. You got the stats over there.
So we were 14 of 26 for 53.8%.
That's, I think, a season high. I think our previous up until then was 10-3. So credit to the girls for the willingness to share the basketball. A stat that I always look at is the assist, the made buckets and the assists. I think 28 assists.
28 assists for the game. So
on 32 buckets, which means that's a reflection of us really sharing the ball, and so that leads to high percentage shots.
So in this case, 12 of 16 from the free throw line, 75% free throw shooting. So much better that night. 32 of 60, 53.3% from the floor though.
That's hard to beat.
And so in that case, you can't. There's nothing you can really say about any of that. But they just played well.
I do think our chemistry is continuing to grow. I think we're playing hard. I think we're trying to execute a game plan, and so the big deal is we've just got to be able to do that against those top 2 teams.
So in this case, they're playing and doing this now. At this game, we had 4 players in double figures. Lewis come off the bench for 20.
Coming out of Florida Southwestern, I knew she could be special, and I knew she could be a difference maker in this league. And so we just need her to continue to do that. She was 6 of 8.
6 of 8 for 3-point line. So 7 of 12 from the floor. Didn't get to the free throw line at all that night. So, but she came off the bench, followed by Daniel with 15 points, Matthews with 14, and Gibbs with 10. So now you got 4 in double figures.
And you can see the difference in the game score and things like that. Just sharing the basketball is good.
So we'll talk about one other stat. I don't have their stats weren't in, but we still turned it over 24 times that night.
Yeah, we got to do better at that.
So not quite so pretty from that side, but we don't have their turnovers, so yeah, I think both teams were turning it over.
It was a pretty up-tempo game. So, sometimes that happens just from playing fast.
So they was playing and playing hard and going after it. And so that's how those 2 games stacked out. If we look right now at the Panhandle Conference, Northwest Florida State College 8-1, Chipola 8-1, Gulf Coast 5-5, Tallahassee 1-8, and Pensacola State 1-8. So Gulf Coast sitting in that 3rd place slot, and some big games coming up this week determine whether we can slide up in there and move into one of those other places. But at least firmly right now in that third place slot, which would give us an at-large bid, into the state tournament.
That's our goal. We have games that are must-win and games that we would like to win. We've said all along, Chipola and Northwest Florida are, the best two teams in the country, and so we want to beat them when we can. But it's not the end of the world if we don't. We just can't get too high or get too low, like you always say, and we just have to take care of the games that we have to, so we get in that state tournament.
Because once you get in the state tournament, everybody's 0-0 at that stage. So look at the state coaches poll that came out today. Chipola 1, Northwest 2, St. Pete 3, Indian River 4, Gulf Coast 5, Florida Southwestern 6, Palm Beach 8th, Miami-Dade 9th. And here's the respect for the Panhandle Conference. Pensacola and Tallahassee tied for 10th. So with 1-10 and 2-9 records, but that shows you how the other coaches kind of respect what's going on in the Panhandle Conference. This is last week's poll. The other poll won't come out till after we shoot this. So Chipola was 1, Northwest was 3, Gulf Coast is 12th, Florida Southwestern's 19th, and Indian River is 23, and St. Pete receiving votes in that national poll. Now we'll shift gears right quick. We go to the arena tomorrow night to play Northwest Florida State College, which we just talked about, the third best team in the country, on their floor. So what do we expect, Coach?
Shania Pinto and the little point guard Mango, they're two of the best players in the country. They put up big numbers every night. And then just balance scoring all the way around. There's not a whole lot of let up when they substitute. I do think that our tempo, the first game we got into a slow-paced game with them, and we're not as effective in the half court. But the second game was a little bit better score. Plus, we were playing at home. We don't want to. We'd like to increase the pace.
So in this case, we go back and look at the two games. We played them on February 9th at their place, lost 82-49. At home on the 23rd, we lost 80-65. If you keep increasing by those numbers, you'll win this game, Coach.
Well, I sure hope so.
So in other words, if you can do that, you'll pick up a win tomorrow night. So
someone told me that we had scored more points on Northwest Florida than anybody had at that home game on the 23rd.
So that's an interesting fact. So, but some of that's the chemistry of the team. They're getting better. I think they're starting to gel. Looks like they're trying to buy into your program and what's going on. And tomorrow night might be a wonderful game at the arena.
Yes, sir. We'll get it right.
So, and then
we're definitely heading the right direction.
Heading in the right direction. And then off of that, we have Pensacola State College at their place on Thursday, which is another tough place to go play in this Panhandle Conference.
That one's a big one for us.
So that's a must-win over there to keep that one. And so, but not a gimme by any means.
No means. I think they're extremely talented. They have great guards, and then I think they have one of the best post players in the country. So in that case, another two big battles. Everybody healthy going into this week, Coach? Yes, sir.
So, well, that's a good thing to have all your players and be healthy. And so the ladies will play at Northwest Florida State College on Tuesday at 5:30, and then we'll travel over to Pensacola State College on Thursday and play at 5:30. So
busy week.
4 road games coming up before we finish at home with those last 2 games.
Yes, sir.
So for Coach Cayla Petree, I'm James Spaxley. We'll be right back in just a few minutes with Coach Gaffney and talk about how the Commodores did on the Commodore Sports Network.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. Coach Phil Gaffney and I talk about the Commodores and what they did last week and what's coming up this week. Commodores right now 5-8 overall, 2-8 in the panel conference, and receiving votes in the state coaches poll. So, Coach, we'll jump right into this. We played Chipola last week, and if we look at it by the halves, it was 42-31 Chipola, 42-32 Chipola, to a 84-63 loss here in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse.
Yeah, and it's much better than what happened. The first time we played Chipola at home, we beat them. One of their only 2 losses in the conference. We went down there and got absolutely destroyed when we went to Chipola. So we've had a real tough February where we just didn't play well, and we were trying to get better in March. And I think we got better in that game. We had stretches of that game. I think it was about a 5-point game with like 30 seconds to go in the half, and then they scored 6 straight points. We made some subs, and they gave up 6 points, and all of a sudden it's a 11-point game at halftime instead of a 5-point game at halftime, and it makes a big difference. Definitely played them much tougher than we did the time before. Donnie Tyndall's doing a great job with that team defensively. They are just a monster to score against. And our guys just aren't executing what we're asking them to do. We're asking them to do 2, 3, 4 different things against the zone, 2, 3, 4 things versus their press. And we just didn't do it. We just didn't execute, and we certainly didn't do it at a high enough level. You can't just do something once. You got to do it over and over and over repeatedly if you want to be excellent. And we're just not at that stage yet where we can be excellent. And
so if we look at that, some of the highlights for them is they had 5 players in double figures. And if we look quickly, Lemus with 18, Tomlin with 14, Zachary with 13, Zepper and Walker with 11 points apiece. So they have pretty distributed scoring on their team.
Very balanced. They're an excellent basketball team. It's very easy to see how Tallahassee and Chipola are their top 10 teams. They have top 10 talent. They're coached at a top 10 level. They're both contenders for national championships.
And even with all the coastal chaos and all the pressure we put on them, they only turned the ball over 10 times the entire game.
And we also have had to back off our pressure because we simply we don't have the guys to do it. And it's totally my fault. We recruited guys who we thought were long and quick and athletic and could play that type of basketball, and we don't. We just can't do what we want to do. So are we still pressing? Yeah. But is it the coastal chaos we were used to seeing last year? Absolutely not.
And so, and if we go down the Gulf Coast side, 2 players in double figures. Pierre Louis with 15 and Marzette off the bench with 16 for the night. Everybody else single-digit scoring.
Yeah, we brought Marzette off. We thought maybe he'd give us a little scoring off the bench. With that second group, it's been a disaster all year of trying to get somebody off the bench to play well and get some points and balance it out a little bit. So he certainly did that. And they've been excellent shooters. Both went 5 for 8 from 3. You say 8 threes in a game, that's a lot for any player to take. It's too little. We need them to shoot 15 or 16 times from 3 because they're both shooting great percentages.
Especially against all the zones we're seeing here.
Exactly.
So in that case, that's where that piece is. If we look at scoring from the floor, we're 11 of 17 from the free throw line for 64.7%.
Terrible.
And so 10 of 17 from behind the arc for 58.8%.
Outrageous.
Well, in other words, not much we're going to complain about there other than we needed to put it up probably more.
Yeah.
And then 21 of 48 from the floor for 43.8%. Nice shooting against a team that can play some defense.
Yeah, some of that was in transition, but not good enough. Not good enough.
So, and Chipola, 20 of 31 from the free throw line for 64.5%, 8 of 19 behind the arc for 42.1, and 28 of 57 from the floor for 49.1%. Commodores only turned it over 13 times that game compared to the 10 Chipola turned it over. So, but the reward for that is then you get to play Tallahassee Community College this past week also, and a game, probably the best game I've seen them play in several games. We came up short 70-61. It was 31-26 scoring for Tallahassee and 39-35. So, but that was a competitive game all the way down to really deep in that second half when threes just started raining.
Right, and it was, and we made so many mistakes. Much better job than we played Tallahassee home, and we played Tallahassee on the road. So you can see that we're getting better, just not enough, and time's running out. So we really need to start getting better much quicker, because our back is really up against the wall. If we're going to try to make the state playoffs, it's now or never. But much better job of competing. And, 54 all with however many minutes to go. And at that point, we had made so many mistakes. We should have been up about 74 to 54. But we couldn't stop it. And they're talented and well coached. And it just couldn't execute the last few minutes of the game.
And if we look at scoring from them, 4 players in double figures. Ellis with 15, Kendall with 15, Walker with 11, and Ware off the bench for 16 for them. So balanced scoring again from a very, very good panel conference team.
Absolutely.
And so they're shooting from the floor 7 of 13 from the free throw line for 53.8%. The only thing they didn't do well, 13 of 33 for 39.4 behind the arc, and 25 of 59 for 42.4% from the floor. When you go down, 2 players in double figures, Pierre-Louis and Hall, both with 12 points apiece. Everybody else singles tonight.
Right, and got to have some guys step up and make some shots. Our bigs, we got great shots inside. Hall was tremendous, but the other guys just couldn't make their shots.
And so Hall is improving.
Oh, absolutely.
So in other words, he's getting better and better and better every game. So
we need everybody else to do what he's doing.
So
you could see the improvement in the growth from Hall, and you can see the improvement in Pierre-Louis and in Cayla Marzette from last year. We need everybody to improve at that level.
And so, well, take that back. Mayo had 11 points too. I want to take him out of that double figure. And Mayo's also playing consistent, strong basketball.
He's doing okay. He's got to get better. If we're going to win, Mayo and Cook and Derek Harden, they all got to step up if we're going to win.
They got to do better. And it was good to have Cook back, because when we played Chipola, we didn't have Cook that night.
No, and that was everybody else got a chance to play a little bit, and yeah, he looked good. It looks like he feels pretty good.
And so 8 points. So he had a good night. Ran the floor. He makes things happen when he's out there. And when the game first started, he was just on fire from every position. So good to see him come back. Harden is improving also.
He missed a couple little gimmies.
So
he passes the ball so well, so he could throw it inside. And Tallahassee collapses. Great defensively. They're going to all collapse on you, and you're going to force you to pass. Most big guys are not great passers. Harden's a very good passer, so we like to throw it into him, and he does a really good job of kicking. He had a couple gimmies. He's got to make those. We got the ball where we wanted it. The guys just got to make the shots.
So in that case, now if we look at turnovers, Commodore's only turned the ball over 9 times in the entire game. That's a good stat.
We're doing a better job of not turning over, but every time we turn it over, Tallahassee took advantage and scored on us.
And so they turned it over 15 times for the game. So Commodore shot 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 4 of 15 from behind the arc for 26.7%, and 24 of 57 from the floor for 42.1% for the game. So and that's how that one turned out. Now, Tuesday, we travel over to the arena and we play Northwest Florida State College at their place. Always a tough place to play. So what do we expect, Coach?
Well, we've won 8 straight there. So that's the one place we like to play. We do better there at home or anywhere else. Real fact, we have to beat the teams that are above us, right below us. We got to beat the Northwest, and we have to beat Pensacola. There's just no doubt about it. Those are 2 must-wins. If we want to make the state tournament, you got to win Tuesday. You have to win Thursday. There's no other way about it. Now, if you win Tuesday, Thursday, you're right there. You're a game out of first, probably. But if you don't win, then our season, in all honesty, will be over in terms of searching for postseason play.
And if we look at that, like you said, on February 9th, we went to their place and won 76-69. They came over here, and we lost on the 23rd of February, 83-77. So you're right. It'll be interesting to see if we can win all our games against them in their place.
Going to have to do it. There's just no doubt about it.
And so in that case, we play them. They are really good. We'll quickly look at the Panhandle Conference standings, and once I get through the stack, we'll come back and probably talk about that just a little more. Tallahassee right now 7-2 overall in the Panhandle Conference. Chipola 7-2. Pensacola State College 5-5. Gulf Coast 2-6. Or Northwest Florida is 2-6, and Gulf Coast State College 2-8. So that's how the Panhandle Conference stands right now. State Coaches Poll has Tallahassee 1, Chipola 2, Indian River 3, Florida Southwestern 4, Eastern Florida State is 5, State College of Florida is 6, Pensacola is 7th, Daytona is 8th, Florida State College at Jacksonville is 9th, and Santa Fe is 10th. Polk, Gulf Coast, and St. Pete all receiving votes in that State Coaches Poll. And this is the poll from last week. The only teams from Florida in last week's poll was Tallahassee at 9th, Florida Southwestern was 10th, Chipola was 16th, and Eastern Florida State receiving votes there. So, but like you said, we'll play Northwest Florida State College, and I wanted to get back here to this. Thomas, Caston, and Avery all scoring, averaging double figures for them. So, and they have a young man that's also playing extremely well from them. Has the same last name as you, Coach, Alonzo Gaffney.
Yeah.
Well,
Avery's not with the team anymore, but Gaffney, the Ohio State transfer, 4-star recruit. He's actually the highest rated recruit in our league. He can certainly play. And Caston, we loved him out of high school. Jacksonville, Potter's House. What a great player he is. You know, you just got to see, how much fight do they have left? How much fight do we have left? Is this time of year? This is a grind. Playing 16 games, the toughest conference. It's tough because we don't get to play everybody like you would like to. You have to try to play to win every game. And so the development of some of your guys on your team doesn't go as well as expected because they're not getting in because you can't play them. Right. It's just going to be your best players have got to play almost all the time if you want to have a shot to win. So it's been a horrible grind. It's been very difficult, and everybody's in it. You just got to try to, survive and move on.
And then Thursday we'll go to Pensacola and play. Pensacola's sitting at 5-5 in that third place seat right now. And going to Pensacola and getting a win over there is going to be a battle.
Very tough. Pete does a great job. It's just going to be very difficult, but we're more than capable of winning these games. We just have to be coachable and execute what's being asked of you. And we're not asking anything difficult. We're asking just basic fundamentals, and we just haven't done it. We can't get our guys to do the most basic things that we want them to do. So it's been frustrating as a coach because I haven't done a very good job. That's what coaching is about, getting people to all pull together and do what you want.
Yeah, but being up the line on defense and things that I hear you talk about all the time to them, they should have learned in middle school.
They should have learned in middle school, and it's amazing that we just can't get them now. It's very frustrating.
So for Coach Phil, well, before we close out, Commodores will play Tuesday, 7:30 at Northwest Florida State College, and they'll play Thursday at Pensacola State College at 7:30. So for Coach Phil Gaffney, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.